Hi everybody, it's been a while since I did a video, but here's my June catch-up. Recently I got a brand new bookshelf. It is beautiful, and I got a book card. So, let's talk about this. So, recently I have been reading A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. Halfway through, this is for my Fable book club. Really loving it. I have been feeling not really good lately. I've gone through mental and emotional and just everything. So I haven't been reading as much as I wanted. I am on chapter 27, so I'm a little behind with the book club, but I'm hoping I can catch up. Probably not this week though, because this week I am focusing on How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. And I loved A Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. Top favorite horror book. Like, number one, probably the best I've ever read. I loved everything about it. It grossed me out. It gave me nightmares. It was amazing. This one, it's more on the slower side. I don't know why I'm not, like, getting into it as much as I usually am with books. Maybe it's just because I haven't been feeling well. Maybe there's other factors, but I really hope I can enjoy this because this has my ultimate fear in it. It has haunted puppets. Puppets terrify me. So definitely, hopefully, gonna enjoy this. And this weekend, starting on Friday, I'm going to be in a new place. I'm gonna be vlogging. I'll be with family. We're doing a get-together, and it's a really far road trip. So, I will be reading Happy Place by Emily Henry. Let me tell you, I screamed in joy when I found this at my local library because I could not afford it. It was almost $25 and everywhere I was looking at. And the other library that I go to, the one that I visit occasionally, only had it on ebook and audiobook, and they were like 3-4 months on a wait, and I have been dying to read an Emily Henry book. So when I found this, I was super excited. So I definitely will be taking this book on the trip. I will vlog about it. I will tell you all I know. And if you follow me on Instagram, please look forward to my videos and my updates about this book. I'm looking forward to this. And if I really enjoy this, or even if I don't, tell me which other Emily Henry book I should check out. I have heard great things by Just Allie and Locke's Library, and I think Haley Pham also read this. I'm not quite sure, but those are my favorite romance and fantasy booktubers that I follow, so I'm kind of looking forward to this very much. So, on to my glorious book cart. I have everything categorized by romance and thriller, contemporary romance, spicy romance, like I got it all. So, I'm going to start off with my, I believe these are called, what is it, paperback? There's some sort of paperback. They're mass-produced. I think it's like mass-produced, I believe. I could be wrong. I have another one up here, Paige Tyler, Wolf Untamed. Love that book. I read it in February because I had gotten it, I think in 2021, and I just hadn't read it. And I was like, well, I'm out of a reading slump. It's here. I might as well. And I really did enjoy it. So my first book is by Laura Kay, and it is an MC romance, a motorcycle club romance, called Ride Hard, a Raven Riders novel. I got this at the Dollar General for $3. For about 2 weeks, I would go into Dollar General, and I found a book that interested me, and I would buy it. So yeah. So this one is about Raven Riders Motorcycle Club president Dare Kenyon, who values loyalty above anything else, and who will do anything to protect his brotherhood of bikers, his only family, as well as those who just can't defend themselves. And when mistrustful Haven Randall lands on the club's doorstep, scared that she's being hunted, Dare steps up and he says, "You know what? You're safe. I'm going to protect you. You're under my protection." And Haven's been through a lot. I would definitely check probably the trigger warnings on it, because it does deal with probably some heavier topics, and it is what I like to call a spicy read. So I'm looking forward to this book. I think it's in a series, but this is the only one that they had, and I grabbed it. So putting you back up here, because everything's falling. So my next book is also an MC book. This is by Christine Feehan, I think, and it's a Torpedo Inc. novel called Reckless Road. And this one is about Gideon Player Lazaroff, and he's one of the Torpedo Inc. Motorcycle Club's roughest members, and he's also the calmest and Little Rattles player. Except the times his gift gets the better of him. I wonder what this gift is. But on a night when he's on the verge of losing it and letting go, he meets a woman who manages to soothe his fractured mind. This reminds me of a Wattpad story. I think it was called Hellhound. I don't exactly remember. I'm gonna have to look it up. I really loved that story. That was something else. So the girl's name is Zaya, and she's striking beauty who seduces him with every word and move. But when Player gets confused and thinks their intimate encounter was nothing more than a dream, his careless dismissal leaves her humiliated and angry. Miscommunication. I don't know if I would like this. Lots of people hate the miscommunication trope, and I've never, ever read anything miscommunication before that was good. So, you know what? I'm gonna give it a chance anyway. My absolute, worst trope that I hate out of all of them is probably forbidden romance. I read Here for the Drama by Kate Bromley, which had forbidden romance, and I didn't really feel forbidden, so I don't know, it wasn't that good. Alright, so my last mass-produced paperback is Passion of the Streets by A. Zalier. And this is about Jamil Rock, who has a terrible life. He's been through a lot. And then he meets Gia, who has been on the opposite. She's been really taken care of. She has her whole life set out for her. So I am wondering how well they're gonna connect. Oh my god, there were so many stickers on this that I tore them right off. And now there's hair all over it, because the stickers, when you peel them off, are just nasty. Oh my gosh. I'll have to really clean this. So that's my last mass-produced paperback that I haven't read. Only 3, not too bad. My next is a book I got at, actually the next 2 are books I've recently gotten at Walmart. I got Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. This has been on my TBR for about 3 years. I wanted to read so many spicy romances for a while, and when I turned 18, this was the first one I got. I love this. I actually really love this cover. This is the special edition. If I really love this, I will get the whole lot of them, because I know there's a lot. I'm gonna get them all with the special edition. I know they had, I think one more, which was like Barbarian's Revenge or something. But I didn't want to get it, because if I didn't like this, which I don't think I will, I would have been disappointed that I spent $12 on books I didn't like. But let me talk to you about this book if you don't already know it. So, this is about Georgie. There we go. This is about a girl named Georgie. She's abducted from her home on Earth by aliens, and then the aliens have ship problems, and she is stranded on an ice planet. So, there's a bunch of like other women with her. And the deal is that these blue-horned aliens say that they will take care of them, but each female has to be assigned an alien as a mate. So Georgie ends up with Vectal. This is a super spicy book. I want to say on the levels of spicy, these are probably going to be 3 or 4. This is probably going to be a 6 in my opinion. But I'm excited to read this. I feel like I'm probably going to crack into this January, February, because it's set on an ice planet, and that's when, on my side of Pennsylvania, we get snow, which is January and February. So, kind of a little sad about that, but I can wait. So, I recently got this yesterday. Dreamland Billionaires, Lauren Asher, The Fine Print. This is a very, very, I want to say, well-rated romance. There we go. Well-rated romance novel series. This has 3 of them. There's The Fine Print, Terms and Conditions, which I was unable to get because Walmart didn't have it. But I can get it on Amazon, so I'm definitely going to grab that. But this one is about Rowan and, Zara. Oh my god, I can't read the writing. I think the next one, I don't actually remember who the next people are, but it's like The Fine Print, Terms and Conditions, and then Final Contract, I think? Not entirely sure, actually. But I'm definitely going to get all 3 of the series. It's only 3 books, as opposed to this one that I think has like 8 or 9. I'm more willing to put in the money for a small book series than a big one if I haven't read the first one. That's just my own personal like pet peeve of mine. Like, I don't want to get a bunch of books and then I don't like the first one, so I have 6 plus. But if it's like 2, 3, maybe even 4, I will splurge on the money and get them. So I'm excited to read this. I think this is a Grumpy Sunshine. I love Grumpy Sunshines. They're one of my favorites. Grumpy Sunshine and Fated Maids are probably my top 2. So I'm really excited to read that. And then I have one more romance. It's a contemporary, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. Everyone and their mother, I believe, have read this book. I haven't, but I watched the movie. So if you haven't read the book and you've watched the movie, it still counts. You've done it. Everyone and their mother have done it. Even the guys. Girlfriends will force their boyfriends to watch it. I know I will. But this is about Hazel, who has cancer, and she falls in love with Augustus, and she thinks that because of this cancer, her life's set in stone. She can't do anything. She can't expect more or less. And Augustus, I think, rewrites all that for her. So I'm excited to read this. I wanted a copy of my own. My mother has a copy, but I didn't want to borrow hers, and then it just sat on this bookshelf. So I got this at Goodwill for like $3. It was a steal in my mind. So after that, I have thriller books. And yes, I know. Why romance than thriller? It's just how I operate. That's honestly how I work. So the first one is by one of my favorite authors. If I had to pick 2 guy authors I love reading, it would be Grady Hendrix for horror, but Harlan Coben for thriller and mystery. And this is The Boy from the Woods. I got this I want to say 2019, I think. When did this come out? That will tell me when I got it. That tells me everything. Oh, wow. Lots and lots of credits. 2020. Okay, so I must have gotten this tail end of 2020 because I got a bunch of gift cards for Christmas that year. So this is one of the books I got. There's another one somewhere that I got for the same. But this is about a man named Wilde who's a mystery to everyone, including himself. And decades ago, he was found as a boy living feral in the woods. So that kind of reminds me of the horror movie Mama, where the two girls are found feral after years. He has no memory of his past. After the police concluded a futile hunt for his family, he was turned over to the foster system. And even 30 years later, he has no clue what's going on. And he's kind of an outcast. But then one day, a local girl goes missing. And Wilde is asked to figure this out. So I am quite excited to read this. I buy a book, I never read it. That is my biggest issue. But I am going on vacation this November and December and into January. So I'm definitely going to have books with me that I will force myself to read. Though it won't be much of a force. But I'm also really hoping that he'll come out with a paperback of his newest book. If I Found You, I think it's called. I really, really want that, but I don't want it in hardcover. I want it in paperback. I want, like, all of his books that I love in paperback. It's just another one of my things. It's so weird. Alright. My next one is Room by Emma Donoghue. This was a movie, and it is about a 5-year-old and his mother. His mother was kidnapped, and she's being held hostage, and she was forced to give birth to her captor's kid, main character Jack, and these two have been living in this basement, crawl space, something like that. And it's just one of those stories that get to you, like, this has happened in real life. Look at Elizabeth Smart, or was it Jessica? I can't think of any names right now, but I see them in my head. I see their faces in my head. Like, this has happened in real life. People have been kidnapped, they've been held hostage, and quite a few of them have been forced to raise these captors' kids, and it's such a heart-wrenching story. It gets me every time. And I have been wanting to read this book forever because I think it's unfair that people whose lives have revolved around this, their story isn't being told from their perspective. It's being told by usually the criminal's perspective, because everyone wants to know what's going through the criminal's mind. So I definitely want to read more nonfiction about these events, but for right now, I will settle on a fictional event that has happened before. It's just horrifying sometimes. Alright. Moving on. I'm going to skip these two because they're not in the right spot. I have, by Christopher Grayson, The Girl Who Lived. I also got this at Goodwill. I think I got The Room at Goodwill too. No, I think I got that at a book sale. I don't know. I don't even remember. But basically, 10 years ago, 4 people were brutally murdered, and the main character, Faith, is released from a psychiatric hospital because she's the only survivor, and this happens on the anniversary. And she just spirals because no one's believing her. No one's thinking anything she says is true. So she's dealing with a lot mentally because of what happened and because people are doing, which also reminds me of Room, like, just another heartbreaking story. I noticed this had, like, come across, I think, either BookTube or Book Instagram. One of those was either all over the Instagram book community or YouTube's book community, like everyone was talking about this book. I kept seeing it everywhere, and that's why I kind of wanted it. So I was happy I got it. I haven't seen anything about it though lately, so that's kind of scary. Alright, I'm kind of running out of time, so I'm going to finish what's up here, and then tomorrow I will make another video about everything down here and what's on the shelf. So let's just blizz by. Alright, so my next one is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This has been everywhere. I've really, really wanted it. This is about the marsh girl, Kaya, and a lot of bad things are happening in this Louisiana marsh. Like, someone's dying, this girl knows what's going on, and she's going through, you're following her through all these times. Like, when she was a kid, when these murders happened, and as an older woman. So I'm excited to read this. I wanted this copy, the hardcover with this cover, but I only found at Dollar General the paperback. So I gave that one to my mom, and then I found this. I was happy. Alright, so now I will go into these two. I got Five Nights at Freddy's, The Silver Eyes by Scott Cawthon and Kira Breed Risley. Oh my god, I still am. I am such a FNAF fan. I own all three of these, but I only put the first one on the cart because I know if I put all three of them, I'm not going to want to read it. You'll notice the theme down here too. If I have the entire series down here, then you can bet I have the first ones here, which I think all of these are the first ones. But if you don't know what this is and you don't know what FNAF is, Markiplier. That Markiplier, MatPat, watch those videos. You'll understand real quick. I probably will go into more depth when I read this. Alright, gonna slide these over and slide you in. Next up, I have The Farm by Emily McKay. This reminds me of Hunger Games and Resident Evil. It's about Lily and Mel, who are twin sisters. Mel is going through autism, she can't talk, and they are basically being, I think, trapped where there's vampires. Whoa, I didn't read that part. So there's vampires, and you're also following Carter, who is a schoolmate of the twins, and they're going against undead monsters and vampires called ticks. So wow, I should have read it a little more, but I'm going to have to read this Halloween. That's what I'm getting out of this. Alright, so next one, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I don't know if this was labeled, like, romance, so I just put it on the end for, like, an LGBTQ. Because this is about Dante and Aristotle. They're two boys. They bond, they share everything, they teach each other new things, and I think they basically do fall in love. I never owned like a LGBTQ plus book, and funny story, my grandmother, who was against it, bought it for me because she didn't understand. She didn't read it. She didn't read like the inside of the dust jacket. So I got this when I was like 16? I can't remember if it was 14 or 16. It was one of those. If you guys can tell me the year when this came out, that would tell me how old I was. Because I had gotten that year. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this. I'm not at the 30-minute mark. Okay, I thought I was close to the 30-minute mark. Alright, then I will blitz by all of these. That's easier. Alright, I've read this before, but it's The Isle of the Lost, a Descendants novel by Melissa De La Cruz. Love Descendants. I own all the books, but I want to do a reread, and I'm going to watch all three of the movies because I can. There's no one stopping me. I love this book. I love Descendants. I remember when the first and second one came out, I was still watching Disney Channel, and I loved it. I saved it on the cable. I think we had DirecTV, So I just like saved it and I watched it over and over and over again. And now it's on my Disney Plus and I'm gonna watch it over and over and over again. I haven't seen the third one though. I want to wait until I get to the very last book because I know they like mostly all correspond. So I definitely want to wait till then. Alright. Next is Poisoned by Jennifer Donnelly. This is a fairy tale retelling of Snow White. It's about a girl named Sophie. And basically, Huntsman's trying to kill Sophie. The queen wants her dead. Sophie is pretty much considered a waste of a princess, and she believes everything, but then she gets help from 7 mysterious strangers, and maybe the queen's not the only thing Sophie has to fear. Think about that. So, just trying to get this in here. I got that for Christmas a few years ago. Haven't read it yet. It's got one of my biggest pet peeves. The next chapter doesn't start like a new page. It's on the same page as the last chapter. Kills me inside. It honestly does. Alright, continuing with fairy tale themes, I got Cinder, The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Mayer. Have all of these except Fairest. Love, love, love this series. I don't think I read Winter yet, but I had read Cinder, Scarlet, and Cress. Love the series. My top 3, apart from probably The Hunger Games and Belladonna, which I don't own Belladonna yet. It's not sitting on my bookshelf yet. I'm so sad. But this is basically about a cyborg named Cinder who falls in love with the Prince Kai, and yeah, basically we're also dealing with lunar people trying to invade, and there's a disease going around, and I think I read this before the pandemic hit, so I was like, wait, there's a plague in here, there's a plague out here. It so confused me as a kid. It was just crazy. Alright, by Marissa Mayer, I also have The Renegades, which I know nothing about. Syndicate of prodigies, humans with extraordinary abilities, so X-Men? I'm thinking X-Men. Crumbled society, there's a character named Nova. She's on a mission for vengeance. So definitely the X-Men then, probably, yeah. So this looks really good. I have all 3. I got them for our birthday. Haven't read them yet. I know I need to get Fairest, which is part of the Lunar Chronicles, and I also need to get Heartless, which is like a Cinderella retelling or Queen of Hearts retelling. So, I've read all 4 of the Hunger Games books by Suzanne Collins. But they're coming out with a new movie, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, this November. I think it's only, like, required that I reread the entire series, so I got Hunger Games on my bookshelf. Love this book. This was my first dystopian, don't know if you would call it fantasy, sci-fi probably. It's more sci-fi. I love this. This is my number 1. This was the first series I ever connected with, so I pour a lot of my heart and soul into this. I don't like the last 2, what was it, Catching Fire and Mockingjay, but I did love the first one, and I loved Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes. I know everyone was disappointed by that, but I loved it. Alright, keeping on the theme of sci-fi, I got Divergent by Veronica Roth. I got this copy at a yard sale, and then I recently was gifted very pretty copies of Allegiant and Insurgent, so I'm going to replace this one with a copy that matches. You'll also notice that my Cinder and other Lunar Chronicle books don't match in cover, and I don't know if I'll fix them, but I do want to fix this one because this one's based off, like, yeah, the movies, like the movie cover, and I don't like it as much. It's really saddening. Alright, that's all the time I can do right now. I'm at 30 minutes, so tomorrow I will talk about the remaining 6. And then hopefully on Wednesday, I'll be able to show you all the new books I just bought. I hope everyone has a great day. And see ya.